SuperTalk Mississippi Media production.
Focus on running your business.
I'm Steve Azar, and I'm on the other side of the microphone, meaning I'm asking the questions this time, and oh, have mercy for the airwaves. I spent 20 years in Music City, wrote and made some hits, traveled the world, and then moved my family back to the birthplace of American music and where the magnolia trees prosper. And now every time I put my feet on Mississippi soil, when I'm off the road, well, I'm at peace. On this show, it's all about hearing the stories straight from the mouths of the friends I've made along the way, their journey to success. Heck, there might be someone on, I don't even know, but you know how us Mississippi types are. We tend to take well to new company. In a Mississippi Minute, all 60 of them. I'm Steve Azar. It's just like that muddy river, moving slow. Ain't no worries, it's how life goes, baby. In a Mississippi Minute.
Hey folks, time for another In a Mississippi Minute. I got to tell you, I'm going to be pretty nervous today because today on the line is truly one of the greatest radio voices in the history of rock and roll, in the history of radio, country, you name it. This man has done it all. Before we get there, visit Mississippi.org is the place to check out. You're trying to figure out what you're going to do this weekend. You're going to eat your way around Mississippi. We have some great Michelin mentions. They're soon to be stars. They're stars in our world. And we are the birthplace of America's music, so that gets a charge out of today's guest. So let's get to it right now with him. He's a bona fide true legend. Rock and Roll Hall of Fame worthy figure. He's also known for being alongside John Lennon, conducting that unforgettable 4-hour interview the very day Lennon was tragically shot outside his home. Even gave him a ride to the studio. We'll get to that in a little bit. And I can't forget his tireless work with our record label, Ride Records, him and our dear mutual friend, Harry Bud Nelson, a Mississippi product that they both found themselves out on the West Coast, different parts of radio, but always remained constant and close during their careers. And somehow I was blessed with being able to have their knowledge just wrapped around me at all times, and we had a blast working together. He is an inductee into the Bay Area Hall of Fame, and there's a whole lot of the Hall of Fames that he's in, but we'll get to it right now. But without further ado, the one and only Dave the Duke Sholin.
My goodness, after that introduction, first of all, I'm walking on air, but when you started talking about food in Mississippi, I said, I'm ready to jump on a plane. Get back and let's sit down and have a few plates of good stuff.
Oh, man, Dave, you look great. You look great. How's the Duchess?
The Duchess, it couldn't be better. Having fun, all good. We even have our own coffee cups now. Duke and Duchess coffee cups.
Well,
so all good.
What took that so long is what I want to know. I mean, come on. Are you kidding?
Yeah.
Hey, so you're still doing the air thing, right? How many years?
Been on the air, let's say a little more than 50, but we're getting closer to 60.
Are you?
It's been a long time. I love doing it. I wanted to do it as a little kid. I was about, 9, 10 when the king of rock and roll, Elvis, came on the scene, and that changed my life. That was it. And rock and rolls just happened, and I said, man, I hear these guys on the radio. That's what I want to do. And lucky for me, I was able to do it.
Okay, so let's back up to Elvis. Obviously that's one of our pride and joys. The reason we claim the stake on being the birthplace of America's music. We have BB, King of the Blues, Jimmy Rogers, father of country music, obviously Elvis Presley, king of rock and roll, and you can fill in a lot of those gaps. I mean, like if you spread those out, start throwing in the Muddy Waters and the Robert Johnsons and it'll go on forever, right? So take me back. I remember I was 10 and a half years old. I walked behind my dad's liquor store, and Eugene Powell was there. And postmen were at the end of their workday. They were sitting on Pepsi crates, and I thought there was a band playing with him, and that it sounded like a symphony. Him and that cheap little probably Sears guitar, and he made it sound like there were 6 people playing with him. I raced home, and that was it. I started writing words. I was addicted and hooked and forever grateful. So you talk Elvis. Take me back to the time. Can you remember the time that it knocked you on your feet? Off your feet, not on your feet, off your feet.
Well, you know, it's funny, Steve, because the first person to tell me about Elvis was my dad. And he didn't know much about all this stuff, but he goes, have you heard about this guy named Elvis Presley? And it wasn't long after that he was on the Tommy Dorsey show. It was a summer replacement show. And I just saw a little clip, and the next thing I knew, I was heading over to W.T. Grant's music store. It was actually in the W.T. Grant department store. They had a little record section, and there was the copy of Hound Dog, Flipside, Don't Be Cruel, Elvis looking great. He had the collar up, and I said, man, I've never seen anybody look like this. And then listening to him, so he had it all going on. I said, this is it. And then it was Ed Sullivan not long after that. And I remember waiting all day. Oh, Ed Sullivan, it's going to be Elvis is on tonight. You know, listen, we're a few years apart, but we remember that time when if you didn't watch something on the tube at that time, it was gone. There were no VCRs. There's no DVRs. There was nothing. It was like
no YouTube, so you couldn't go back and watch it.
No YouTube.
None of that.
If the show happened and you missed it, it was gone. And so that was it. Waiting every second. It was 7:58, 8 o'clock. Elvis, and of course he teased it. You know, he was a showman. He kept promoting. He's coming up. Girls screaming. It was a whole new world that opened up, and it was, you know, Little Richard, the other, you know, who said the king of rock and roll, and I can't really disagree. I mean, all that. Little Richard was so wild that, but so was Elvis, just in a different way. They just flipped the world upside down. And you mentioned John Lennon. That was, you know, his all-time favorite quote, or one of them. Before Elvis, there was nothing.
Wow.
And he was right. He was right.
Wow.
I mean, they were great artists. It was a different kind of music. It was Sinatra and Barry Como and Peggy Lee, and great music. But it didn't hit us, at least us, meaning that generation, like the King.
I've interviewed Dave the Duke Sholin's our guest today. I've interviewed Bobby Rush recently, a friend of mine that I got to know over the years, watching the blues festivals, playing many blues festivals with him, and finally got to really sit down and catch up with him when we're not at a show or something, you know, and dealing with the time restraints. So we had a good time talking, and he told me one time Elvis and him were playing together, and he would shake. He shaked quite a bit himself. And, you know, it was an all white crowd, and the police said if Bobby Rush shakes, then they're going to arrest him. And Elvis says, if he don't shake, I don't shake. You know, so it's something like that. So these quotes you get like, and then he goes, everything was fine. Also, it reminds me of at our charity event, Morgan Freeman was on the putting green at the golf club here, Greenville Golf and Country Club. And we were sitting around in very, very hot weather in June, and wiping the sweat off our brow. And one of the reporters asked Morgan, hey, Morgan, why the arts? Because that's what our foundation donates to, and our mission statement. And he got real quiet with his dramatic pause and just looked around and said, no art, no life. And I said, oh my God, we were all like frozen in the sweat. You think about these quotes in life that sort of are, I mean, you need to put them on more than a shirt. You know? Sure.
Yeah. In a couple of words, they really tell you exactly what was happening at that moment. And Morgan's is right on, you know, spot on for sure. I can hear his voice saying that. Makes it even more powerful.
So back up for a second before we get to a break, and we've got a little time. I want to understand sort of that impact. I know we've talked about that, but wait a minute. You brought something up about things that they come and they go. It was on TV. It was gone. You didn't get a chance to watch it anywhere else. Do you like it the way it was or the way it is now?
You know, today it does have, listen, there are a lot of great things about being able to see everything on demand when you want to see it. If you didn't see it then, we'll watch it in a couple of days. All of that stuff is great. But the downside, Steve, to me, is we're doing the same thing at the same time. It was this group experience. So when, we were talking about this the other day with some friends, when, you were going out to the beach and you had your little transistor radio and there are hundreds of other people all there, everybody tuned into a radio station. We're all hearing the same song at the same time.
Right.
Tonight Show, Johnny Carson. Everybody is watching Johnny at the same time the next morning. Hey, did you hear what Johnny said? Everybody is saying, oh, yeah, we all heard it, because everybody is doing it. Now, everybody's in their kind of own little silo. And I'm gonna listen to this right now. Somebody else is doing something else.
It's on demand. I mean, whatever you want.
On demand. That's right.
Let's take a quick break. The great Dave the Duke Sholin. If you Google Dave the Duke Sholin, it's going to take days and months and years to get through his resume. Visit Mississippi.org. He appreciates it. You can tell. We'll be right back. I'm Steve Azar.
Going back to Greenville in my mind. In my mind. In my mind.
We're in cold water and we're in too deep. Yeah, we're in cold water.
Dave the Duke Sholin, one of the greatest men I've ever met in my life. Met him through another great man, Harry Bud Nelson. Everybody's got middle names, their nicknames, because when you've been doing it as long as they have in the music business, they deserve a pre, post, and middle name, like nicknames. They just deserve them all. Visit Mississippi.org, a celebration, the birthplace of America's music. We're going to live there today because Dave the Duke Sholin, 4 hours with John Lennon and Yoko the day he died, gave him a ride to the studio, lands in San Francisco after being there back in the day where you just turn the radio on, you'd have cell phones. And I remember Dave telling me, well, Dave, I'll let you take it from here because it's worth hearing over and over. It's one of the most historical days in rock and roll history that you were a part of. You get in your car from the airport and it's your radio station playing Lennon and Beatles, right? And that wasn't the format.
That was not the format at that time of night. But the whole thing is, when you think about it, I said it, numerous times, but we all, think our day is going to start one way and have no clue how in the world it's going to wrap up. And that no day will ever be like that for sure, because we went into this, and I say we because I had my producer, Ron Hummel, who produced all my radio specials, and we had a lot of them with some great artists. And Lori Kay, she was the writer for the script, and Bert Keane, my late great buddy, who is joining Harry right now, probably having some laughs. And Bert was with Warner Brothers Records. Warner Brothers at that point, they handled Geffen, the Geffen record label, because David Geffen had just started his new label. He signed 3 artists: Donna Summer, Elton John, and John Lennon. Not bad to kick off your new record company with those 3. So
that's just crazy.
Yeah, absolutely crazy. So, John was a new artist, and Bert was representing Warner Brothers, so he was with us. And I had known him for years. His family is like our family. And there is a documentary that is coming out about this, Steve. So anybody that wants to, we don't know exactly where it's going to stream. It just was premiered at the Cannes Film Festival, like a little over a week ago. And it's called, interestingly, the perfect title, John Lennon, The Last Interview, directed by one of the Oscar-winning greats, and that's Steven Soderbergh, who was so lucky to have him do this. So
tell me about it. I want to know. Tell me in depth. This is awesome.
Oh, yeah. Well, Steven Soderbergh, I mean, the fact that this was all put together by the producer who first put this all together, and that's Nancy Saslow. And Nancy works out of the Bay Area, out of Marin. And she believed in this project. She heard the interview and said, this has to be a documentary. So we want to hear the entire story. So, some months went by and she goes, well, we have a director. And when she gave me Stephen's name, I said, wow. So this was quite something. So the three of us, Lori, myself, and Ron, all were in LA over a year ago, recording interviews. Stephen sat behind the camera. Nancy was there, a big crew, and asking all the questions. We were together as a group, and then we were together separately, telling our story. Each one, it was a full day in the studio with Stephen. And what I did not know, because there are a lot of reviews about since it's now premiered. I have not seen the movie. Sean Lennon, John's son, has seen it, loves it, and the reviews have been they've been great. So I can't wait to see it. Hopefully it'll be happening soon. And
so have you seen it at all, the preview
I
yet?
have not seen it. I have not seen any.
Wow.
So,
It's a full-length film?
It's a full-length documentary.
Okay.
Yeah, it's a documentary. It will be shown. Any one of the streaming sites, you can take your guess about which one it is. I don't know at this point. But
we can Google it or ask AI, and it'll tell us everything we want to know or don't want to know.
For the last interview, if you Google it, you'll probably see a zillion different reviews. And one of the Rolling Stone review, which came out a little over a week ago, what it was really interesting in that review is that they interviewed Steven Soderbergh. And I had no idea. Wait till you hear this one, Steve. I had no idea that the night you're talking about, the night that I landed in San Francisco, not knowing anything until I turned on the radio. Mm-hmm. That night, Steven Soderbergh was in San Francisco and he was still in his teens. He was 9 years away from making Sex, Lies, and Videotape, his first.
Wow.
Yeah, he was there. He was in San Francisco. Little did I know until.
You're on the same turf, and you guys, what if you'd have passed each other on the road? He was being driven by his mom. I don't know. And then all of a sudden you see each other. And, if the movie was being made about that, and you guys, all these times that people cross paths at a particular time and intersection in life, but they don't do something that significant till a zillion years later, wouldn't that be a great movie? So much, because it's got to be happening all the time.
Of course.
But with you guys,
the world works. But yeah, that day though that you're talking about began. We were just so pumped up. We got to New York the day before. Should have thought about it. It was a Sunday, December 7th of all dates. Set for the interview the next day at the Dakota with John and Yoko. And it was Yoko who actually helped set this date. She had called. We have to kind of backpedal a little bit to where this began, because David Geffen was the person that really put this, made this happen, because this was months before the interview. I was in LA, he was in LA, went to his office, and he, at that point, I was still with RKO Radio as the national music person. So I went to his office late summer of 1980 and played me Starting Over. Nobody had heard this song. I didn't know anything about it. And John Lennon hadn't been in the business for years because he was at home taking care of his son. That's what he wanted to do. He spent 5 years as a house husband. So, David goes, there's an album coming. John and Yoko have an album, and he's going to be doing one radio interview. That's it. He's not going to be going to stations and doing all that. And we'd like to, know if you want to be the person doing the interview. So,
wow. Come on. Where were you?
I said to him, David, I don't know about that. I'm not sure. I'll get back to you. No,
yeah, but so
I didn't say that.
Seriously though, you think about that one. I get why he asked you, but there's a lot of times in your life that you need to be reminded of your body of work and why he asked you. And that was a time.
Well, thanks. I appreciate that. I think I knew certain people at the record label. My good friend Johnny Barbas, Paul Drew is a former head of programming at RKO, and he goes back to John and Yoko and Paul and the Beatles. Back to he was on the air in Atlanta, so he actually brought him on stage in Atlanta in the '60s when the Beatles were on tour. So. There's a lot of connections and how it all happened. I'm not sure, but I had interviewed with the same group, Ron and Lori and myself, not Bert because it was a different label, but a year before I interviewed Paul McCartney.
Wow. So, hey, all right, let's hold it at Paul McCartney. And let's take a quick break. I mean, I don't know how I'm going to be able to contain this Mississippi Minute today. Me and you need a couple decades, but we'll get to that. Visit Mississippi.org, standing by for you to take a road trip. As I often say, if you don't maybe have a loved one, maybe you'll find a loved one on the road to searching out our hallowed ground we call Mississippi. I'm so grateful to be a part of the fabric of this incredible state and the characters and storytellers. It's been the greatest journey of my life, and I'm so grateful for all of you out there. Visit Mississippi.org. Check it out. The great Dave the Duke Sholin will be right back. It's an incredible story.
Say we're in cold water, but I do believe we're in cold water, and I shall believe.
$20,000 available for first-time home buyers. Hey folks, Steve Azar here. Helping is the heart of our friends at Guarantee Bank. They offer programs like the Home Buyer Equity Leverage Partnership Grant that can assist qualified first-time home buyers with up to $20,000 towards down payment and provide home ownership counseling to empower you on your journey. These funds are first come, first served. Learn more about this program and to apply now, go to gbtonline.com. Guarantee Bank, member FDIC.
From the
In a Mississippi Minute with Steve Azar, right here on SuperTalk Mississippi.
Here I am standing over this little old town called America. On precious stone, dangling off heaven's shoulder.
I got a little verklempt real quick looking at my man Dave the Duke Sholin. Dave the Duke Sholin. I get verklempt. There you go. I can't even talk. The reason is because this man was very special to me in a crucial period of my career. Fought like you wouldn't believe. And we have remained such dear friends. And we lost both of our mutual best friends, Harry Bud Nelson, who's from Mississippi. And he, I know he's watching us right now going like, what's wrong with you two guys? Y'all need to be eating somewhere. Anyway, speaking of eating.
That's about right for Harry. God rest his soul. But we did have our road trip to L.A. Well, never forget that one.
I'll never forget. I'll never forget. I told you guys, just drop me off here. I didn't know where I was going to be. And when y'all dropped me off, I was going to Gary Valentine's house. And I had no idea where I was. We had been traveling all over the place. And at this point, I'm sideways. And I said, this will be fine. You guys get back home. It was getting late. And y'all had still road trip a couple hours. And do you know that you let me out in his neighborhood? When I called the Uber, the guy goes, are you serious? He was kind of laughing at me. I said, what? I thought it was going to be like, oh, am I like 4 hours away or, like in traffic? And he goes, no, you're literally a half a block away. And I went, shut up. And so anyway, so that worked. That's the first time I've ever been landed in a spot where I wanted to be by accident. So Dave, let's keep talking about this. So John Lennon, we're talking about it with zero sadness in our voice because a lot of time's passed. But tell me emotionally, how you felt when you landed and got there. I mean, were you dizzy for a week?
Well, here's the thing. It's a great question. I didn't really have time. I did about a week later. I did not have time. I took it all in. It was, first of all, you got to realize that I had no sleep because you're in New York, East Coast time, coming out, and nobody at the airport. There were no cell phones. There were no TVs. There wasn't anything. There wasn't even. You didn't even need security to get on a plane.
You're isolated from anything, right?
Isolated
as
from
far
anything.
as news or whatever.
Yep. And I went back. Take the airport parking lot down below. I get in my car. Nobody had a clue until, as you say, I'm on the road heading home. Turn on the radio and I hear, I believe it was Let It Be. I'm trying to remember. But it was some ballad, and this was 9:00 at night. We were a flame-throwing, rockin' top 40 radio station. So to hear Broadway Bill Lee, who was on the air, he's a legend, and he's in the Hall of Fame. He's a legend in New York. To hear Bill Lee play the Beatles, I'm going, this is really bizarre. Why? I just left John Lennon. What a coincidence that he's playing. And then he came on and made the announcement. And at that moment, everything changed. So I had to stop. I really literally had to stop I pulled over it was on the highway. It was a stop place to pull over. I had to stop for a few minutes because I had to make sure that this was that actually happening, or was this a bad dream? I wasn't.
Oh, yeah.
I had to take it all in. I got home. So, my body clock is like now 1:00 in the morning. This is around 10 or so.
You're on a 3-hour difference.
1:30, in New York. So within minutes, our program director, another Mississippi connection, Steve.
Come on.
Jerry Cagle.
Oh, Jerry Cagle.
Jerry Cagle, who was in radio, and then he was at one point. He was when Cliff Finch was your governor. Mm-hmm. He was his, deputy. So he was right there with Cliff. So, but he's just like Harry. And by the way, Harry Budd was on the air in Jackson as Happy Harry. It wasn't Happy
Harry. So
Happy
good.
Harry. You can hear him on YouTube.
It's so good.
But
so good. From Collins,
Jerry,
Mississippi.
Exactly. So Jerry calls, immediately calls me and on a landline because there was no other way and said, all right, get down to the station. You got to be here right now. So now I'm going, okay. So I jumped in the shower, came back, drove down to our station, KFRC. And from there, it got crazy because about when I got to the station, this was now about 1:30 in the morning. They said, get ready because Good Morning America wants you on with, at that point, it was David Hartman was the host.
David Hartman, yeah.
What a wonderful guy.
Do you have like a media person there getting ready for you to line one after the other?
No, we didn't have any of that. We were, it was just Good Morning America was the first of what turned out to be numerous interviews.
Had to be, right.
So KGO is the ABC affiliate in San Francisco. And there actually wasn't more than an affiliate. They were the ABC. You could have 7 stations around the country that you own. They own KGO. So, and it wasn't far away, but so 4:00 in the morning, 7 o'clock, obviously New York, Good Morning America is on the air. And at the top of the hour, David Hartman introduces me. And that's on YouTube as well. But so here I am. Now we're talking about.
I mean, you're exhausted. So, I mean, are you able to articulate, talk at all? Are you able to function?
I can function. I had as much caffeine and everything else to keep me awake, but kept on going. So we finished that interview, and then a couple of, I think we had a little break and went over to the office of Gavin Magazine. Now, Gavin was a radio record trade magazine, and I had just joined them. I had left LA to join them. I was still on the air at KFRC doing that, along with the Gavin Magazine. And there was a group of reporters all over sitting in a conference room, and I had a conference with them. And then it was one phone call after another. So I think at about, I had to actually interrupt that because the station, KFRC, wanted me to do a TV commercial because they were going to be buying time to promote the fact that we had this interview.
Yeah.
And, but we had it, all our stations around the country. RKO had stations they owned. They also had a network of stations, not part of, but they were part of the RKO radio network, which only had started shortly before.
If you guys are just tuning in, Dave the Duke Show, and we're talking about the last interview the day John Lennon got tragically shot in front of his home. Dave was with him all day, most of the day. You gave him a ride to the studio after he was heading to the airport, him and Yoko. So probably one of the most historic interviews in the music business or any business. It transcends music. It's like Miracle on Ice, the hockey team winning in 80. I mean, this is big. I mean, this is like, this is global stuff. All right, so go ahead. Well, we got about 30 seconds left in this segment, so take us home.
So, as it turns out, we had to produce this radio special that was going to be airing the following Sunday night. Now we're talking, the interview was done on Monday, December 8th. December 9th, there it is, a Tuesday. I'm doing the interview, and Lori is writing the script.
Goodness gracious.
I voiced the script, but she wrote it. And Ron, producer extraordinaire, had to produce this to get it ready to go for a Sunday night broadcast. So we didn't really have a lot of time to sit and mull a lot of this over.
Yeah,
and that's the answer to your question about how did I feel. I will tell you, Sunday, if you remember, Steve, on Sunday. Before that broadcast, there was a moment of silence. I think it was 10 minutes of silence.
Yeah.
And I went to a park, and I think by myself, and that's basically the moment that I kind of like it all hit me. I think about it now, and I still get emotional, but it all hit me, and I was able to kind of let go and realize what that whole day.
Stay right there on that park bench. The great Dave Shellen. Visit Mississippi.org, the birthplace of America's music. Don't go away.
$20,000 available for first-time home buyers. Hey folks, Steve Azar here. Helping is the heart of our friends at Guarantee Bank. They offer programs like the Home Buyer Equity Leverage Partnership Grant that can assist qualified first-time home buyers with up to $20,000 towards down payment and provide home ownership counseling to empower you on your journey. These funds are first come, first served. Learn more about this program and to apply now, go to gbtonline.com. Guarantee Bank, member FDIC.
If you're ever...
True story.
Sonny boy, if he had the choice, he'd raise some hell and make some noise.
Man, I'm going to miss my man when we get off the horn here. One of the most special folks in history in the music business, not just radio, beyond that. Special in my heart, Dave the Duke Sholin. I mean, it's one of those things where you just sit back, for me as an artist and songwriter, and think about his impact he's had on so many. But I got to be in the front seat in a car, literally with him for a long time and beyond. Visit Mississippi.org. Man, plan a road trip. We are the birthplace of America's music, and this man figured out what he wanted to do for the rest of his life because of seeing Elvis. And if you think about that with the Beatles the same way, and then John Lennon saying what he said, and how he impacted his life, and the two of them meet on that day that John Lennon was tragically shot, and Dave Sholin is the last interview that John Lennon ever had. What's the name of the documentary?
It is called John Lennon, The Last Interview.
well, I mean, I'm glad nobody tried to. That says it all.
Cool.
Yeah, come on.
Don't have to go through a lot of, but I will tell you this, Steve, that, and I got to get to Mississippi so you and I can hang. And, I've been to Tupelo. I've been to.
You got to listen. You're killing me right now. I mean, y'all got to come visit. We do have guest rooms. We got it right here. Like right outside these doors to the right is your room. It's the Duke and Duchess suite.
I like it. But, I think I would just want to add to all this, because you were talking earlier about this, the car ride that we gave to John and Yoko. And it happened after the interview. So we had wrapped up everything at the Dakota, and in our car was there waiting for us to take us to JFK. And Ron's helped loading equipment. I mean, today you could record things in, the palm of your hand. You couldn't do it then.
Right.
So we had gear, and so all of a sudden, John comes down and says he was supposed to have a car to take him to the record plant, the recording studio, and hadn't shown up.
So funny.
So, you mind if we hop in and you give us a lift? Absolutely. I mean, Midtown afternoon traffic didn't make any difference. If we missed the plane, which we could have easily missed this flight, it'd
have been worth it.
It was touch and go. Absolutely.
Yeah. Did you go in the studio, or you just dropped him off?
Just dropped him off because we were on a rush to get this plane. But I will tell you this: I wish there was a way to record. Today with a phone, I could have hit record and we could have had a great conversation recorded, because a lot of that was music. A lot of it was Elvis and Jerry Lee and Little Richard and all the music that we loved. And we had an amazing conversation. It was really fun. So then we get to drop him off, and John autographed the sleeve of Starting Over to Debbie. We were just dating at the time. So he sent that, he autographed that. See you in San Francisco. I'm convinced they were definitely going to go on tour.
Wow.
And that is another.
And how many years had gone by since they had played together?
Well, I don't think the Beatles would go on tour.
Oh, John was going to go. Okay.
Yeah,
you got me excited for a second. Like, oh man.
Exactly. Yeah.
I know that they had their.
The Beatles may have. I'm. We'll never know.
No, we won't know.
He was definitely ready to hit the road. The whole day, Steve, and that's one of the things that really has stayed with me all this time. He was so upbeat. He felt so great. It was like the beginning, which is, just like song Starting Over. I mean, this was like he was turning in, it was a new chapter of his life. He had just turned 40 a couple of months before. And, the life begins at 40. Well, in that case for him, it was like, here we go. I've got a new direction. I'm ready to go. I'm feeling all the creative juices. I haven't done anything in 5 years. And then for it all to stop was just,
I know,
beyond all the personal connections, having Yoko and Sean and Julie, everything else, all the family stuff, which to me was number one on the list. But
Yeah.
as the world lost this opportunity to who knew what he could have been doing.
Yeah. You've been a part of every fabric and every genre of every popular music in the world, and a
Not
Mississippi.
sure about that, but
You have. It's been amazing.
I put a plug in for I have a podcast that.
Oh, tell me about that real quick, because we got 30 seconds.
We just started it. It's real quick. It's called For the Record. So there's only a few up there right now. Our first was Diane Warren, one of the great songwriters all time.
For the Record.
She was fantastic. But For the Record, you can see it all. Me and my buddy Rick Basiglia, who has worked with everybody from Whitney Houston to, of course, Diane and so many acts at Arista with Clive Davis.
Great idea.
Anyway, we'll
podcast.
Podcast.
For the Record, Dave the Duke Sholin.
On
For the Record. You got to go check it out. Oh, Diane Warren. I'd love to hear all their crazy songwriting.
Oh, boy.
How she is, man. Nuts. I mean, just ridiculous. Just wakes up in the morning and spews out a hit. Nothing to it.
Yeah.
All right. Thank you, Dave, for taking a Mississippi Minute with me. You're my man. I love you, pal.
Love you, too.
Visit Mississippi.org. Celebrate Dave the Duke Sholin, one of the greats. We'll see you later. I'm Steve Azar. Have a great weekend.
I'm Steve Azar. In a Mississippi Minute, all 60 of them, where you can take your sweet time.
A SuperTalk Mississippi Media production.